Can you hear me if the mic is there? Oh, it's gone off again. So I need to hold it. It's not too loud. No? Okay. Black Activists Rising Against Cuts is a national campaign group that was set up by myself and Lee Jasper to fight the discrimination and the racism of cuts and the disproportionate impact that cuts are going to have on the most vulnerable, but particularly black community service users and workers. When my parents' generation came to the UK, they were greeted by signs of no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. They were given substandard housing, the worst jobs, and the lowest pay. They were confronted by the National Front. And many of my generation, including myself, had to struggle and fight barriers, fight discrimination, just to get a foot on the career ladder and to strive for equality. The glass ceiling was barricaded, and many of our parents, when we came here, drilled into us as we were growing up that we had to work 3 times as hard as our white counterparts in order to succeed at the same level. And that's certainly something that was drilled into me. Study hard and work hard, and that you'll get somewhere if you do that. And we look at where we are now. Black people, the unemployment rates for black people is twice as much as for white people. It's even worse for young black people. The very communities we live in, the poorest and most vulnerable communities, are the ones that are taking the hardest hit. And the next generation, my child's generation, have barriers all over again. So it's like we've gone full circle. All the struggles we went through to fight racism, to get somewhere in life, to be treated equally, we're facing it again because of this condemned government. We might not have the National Front, but we've got the BNP and we've got the EDL. March 26th and June 30th were a great show of strength and unity. We had massive turnouts on June 30th. I was on strike on June 30th. I'm a PCS National Executive member, and thank you. Now, I've been on a lot of picket lines in the last few years. I've been out on strike quite a bit because of the attacks we faced, on our jobs, on our pay, and our pensions. But I've never seen a picket line like the picket line I had last Thursday. There were about 100 people on our picket line. They weren't all members, I have to say, although I only saw 2 members of mine cross the picket line and going to work that day, which is something at least. But what we had on the picket line was UK Uncut, frying eggs, bacon and sausages on the pavement outside our office. We had DPAC, Disabled People Against the Cuts. We had Barrack, as you would imagine we would have. We had Defend the Right to Protest. We had a single mothers group. We had pensioners. We had an unemployment group. The list goes on and on. We had international press. We had international speakers. We had an Egyptian trade union leader. And I think that signified the difference, compared to previous industrial action, that it wasn't just about those people that were taking strike action, it was about everybody, all of us out together. In the last week, I've had The Guardian make a video about the impact on black workers and women, which I was featured in. I've been on Turkish radio. I've been on a UK-based African TV channel and a UK-based Bangladeshi TV channel. I've written an article for The Voice, which is the biggest black newspaper in the UK. And what that tells us, I mean, I think that's one, it demonstrates not just our multicultural society, which David Cameron wants to get rid of, but our multicultural media, and the fact that all sort of aspects of the media are on board and wanting to hear not just about Barrack, but about the strikes, why we're striking, why we should strike, which I think is fantastic, the diversity of that media coverage. I think that going forward, what we need to do now is to give people hope. Everybody in this room is going to be signed up to fighting the cuts. We don't need convincing in this room, otherwise we wouldn't be here today, now. But there are a lot of people that don't, and I've got 1 minute left, there are a lot of people that still don't have hope, and they don't have hope because they don't feel empowered. And I think the task for us now going forward is to provide that hope and that empowerment, because unless people can see that they can make a difference, they can make a change, they're not going to be infused or empowered to take action. There are a lot of people that are not in trade unions, there are vulnerable workers, there are unemployed people, there are people that are deprived of entering the labour market because of this government, and we need to reach out to all of those people. We've taken inspiration from students, and my 1 minute's probably gone, hasn't it? And we owe it to the next generation going forward to fight for them. I think what we need is a general strike. In order to have a general strike, we need everybody, don't we, in unions. Every single person needs to join the trade union so that they're eligible to go out on that general strike. So the work for us in the summer, going forward to the autumn, when we hope to take more coordinated action if the government don't listen, is to generate that interest, that enthusiasm, that empowerment, so that when we do take action again, there's even more people. There were 30,000 on the streets in London last week. We want to quadruple that. We want millions out when we go on strike, and I'm really pressed for time now, so I must finish. And thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Lisa, and if anyone else wants to further